listening to Brain Food, a podcast by KPMG that gives you a taste of Brain Bar Budapest 2018. What jobs will people be able to do when the robots take over? In this episode of Brain Food, Shamus Rae, head of digital disruption at KPMG in the UK, addresses that question and more. His presentation at Brain Bar was entitled The Job Robber, and it raised the question, can you future-proof your job? In it, he spoke of the year 2045. That's when Rae predicts that singularity, the time when artificial intelligence overtakes humanity, will be upon us.
What's interesting is that 10 years ago they were predicting 2050, but because of the advances that we've made, the year's coming closer towards us. But that is one point in time. The impact on us all will happen much earlier than that, and it'll be slice by slice of skills where computers are better than us at that skill. So facial recognition, don't do a career in facial recognition, that's over. And you can imagine more and more slices of skills going towards the singularity, if that makes sense.
Shamus Rae is responsible for artificial intelligence strategy within the audit and advisory firm KPMG in the UK and propagates such strategic thinking to the firm's clients. He also looks at what the disruptive models are for professional services companies like KPMG and how these might affect the industry in the next 3 to 5 years. One thing he is telling upper management at KPMG is to be aware of how fast technology is moving.
And I know that we all know that, but often at the C-suite they don't believe it. It's a requirement for the next 3 to 5 years. They see it as a more than 5-year problem. So I spend a lot of time with C-suite people around the technology is moving now and it's going to impact you over the next 2 to 3 years. So that's one thing. The second thing I'm talking about is how do you actually make change happen? Because actually in large organizations you can often get what we call active inertia, which is where they talk about doing something but they don't really commit. So you'll create a head of innovation or a head of digital, but you won't actually plan strategically around what's the impact on the business and how do you pivot the business. So Donald Stahl, the MIT professor, talks about active inertia, and I think it's a great theory which I take to the C-suite in all my clients.
Shamus Rae says that corporate heads also hold the key to overcoming that active inertia.
Well, actually, I think this is about getting the C-suite to understand and embrace technology, but the CEO needs to own the digital transformation journey. And we did a CEO survey for 2018, which shows that 2/3 of CEOs around the world actually now own the digital disruption agenda themselves. In the US, though, that percentage is 91%. So I think the rest of Europe and Asia need to go, do we have the right people driving this at the top? At the moment, often not.
As for what advice he has for those seeking jobs into the future, Rae says that it's not just the simple jobs that might be taken over by robots.
Society's getting rid of a lot of investment banking jobs, right? A lot of brokerage jobs, and automated fund management. So these are high-end skilled jobs. So it's too simplistic, I think, to go, it's going to be this layer of people who go, rather than the higher skilled jobs.
Maybe we should be afraid, according to Shamus Rae, who says going forward it will be crucial to prepare for the impending changes that artificial intelligence will exert upon our societies.
But if we don't proactively manage what we do, the rethinking about the capabilities we need towards a utopian answer, then all we're doing is managing ourselves to dystopia. Now, whether we get to utopia is almost irrelevant. It would be neglect for us not to proactively manage addressing skills and capabilities in the workforce, our education system, infrastructure, and in making sure that the economic impact for AI is widely distributed, not just amongst the big tech houses. So we should be worried. We should be having a proper conversation as a society about it, but actually we should be proactively managing towards utopia rather than worrying too much about dystopia. We can't do anything about that other than try and aim at utopia.
For those humans that would like to work in the future, Shamus Rae offers this advice.
If you think the job is predictable, it's rules-based, that's going to go very quickly, right? If you think that actually you can imagine an AI system looking at data in a different way and solving that problem without your job ever needing to exist in the first place, then you shouldn't do it. So I would focus on things which are fast-paced in terms of change, creative, and actually going to drive intellectual curiosity. Right? Because actually all of us want to do things which are different and interesting. So do not go into a mundane, predictable job. That's what I'd say to my kids anyway.
That was Shamus Rae, head of digital disruption at KPMG in the UK, who spoke about how to keep working as artificial intelligence takes off into the future. You've been listening to Brain Food, a taste of Brain Bar Budapest 2018 from KPMG. Stay tuned for more podcasts like this by subscribing to KPMG in Hungary's social media channels.